Let's see. And now it says I'm live. Okay, cool. You are live in it. Welcome to Vlog Thursday 196, FreeNAS, TrueNAS, Business Talk in Errata, and me talking to Fast. And my son's here. We have hot sauce too. It is a spicy day. I like the name on this. Green habanero hot sauce. Where would he find? Kyle found this and brought it in.
It was at a Gordon store, I think.
Yeah, I think it was at Gordon Foods. So it wasn't anything particularly special. I have no links to this. We bought it locally, but this is the hot sauce today.
Tastes like salsa.
Tastes like salsa, but with habaneros. It's actually really good. All right, you can put it back in the fridge now. Oh, for those of you that somewhat followed me last week, I think I mentioned I'm homeless. I'm still homeless at the moment because I'm between houses. I mentioned that before. So my son's hanging out here because the office is kind of my home. There's like some of my home stuff is around here. Anyways, oh, this is interesting. There's a new feature added it's telling me about. Anyways, so yeah, but you're not here to be distracting. Go. Exactly. Back to the topic at hand. And there's a couple things, and one of them I should have titled to start this off isn't just about FreeNAS and TrueNAS. The other thing, and I don't know if I should upload this as a video, but I did throw it over in a group in Facebook, and I threw it over in I threw it on my LinkedIn. I just don't know if it's really, me ranting about something stupid isn't necessarily something I would say goes on YouTube. And what is it that I'm ranting about? Let me actually pull it up and show you on my LinkedIn after I close all the messages I have. And it's this. So I made a video that's on my LinkedIn page, which I think is all publicly viewable. I don't think you have to sign up for LinkedIn for that. But what I'm talking about is this right here. And it's Cio Review Magazine. I just wanted to throw this out there and mention it because, and let me show you the email where I'm complaining about this. And it's probably a little blurry, so don't worry, I'll read it for you. It's basically saying that you can be featured as a top IT provider on our list in all these magazines that, and these companies, of course, take the logos and put it on there. And it costs you the low, low price of $3,000. And then by magic and coincidence, I was actually sent another email after I published that video over on Facebook and LinkedIn by another company that want to feature me as another top vendor in the cabling and low voltage space for the same price of only $3,000. I'm going to have a strong feeling, although it was a different name emailing me, that these same people are behind it that actually make these offers. And I'm just kind of annoyed by them is the best way I could describe it, that there's so many consumers that don't realize that these write-ups and these companies bragging and sticking their media side of their site like, hey, we were featured as the top 20 IT provider of 2020 by Cio Magazine. They just bought the spot, and that's as simple as it is. There's not any actual process by which they vetted these companies. They vetted them by collecting a check, and those who paid got to be listed. And it's like, yeah, it's just one of those annoyances that is, I want to make sure consumers are aware of it. It's one of the, crappy marketing techniques that I think is out there that I just don't care for, but I think not enough consumers are aware of how all those work. Which is why I'm like, I don't know if it's really worthy of an episode or not an episode for me uploading that same thing to YouTube, but I thought I'd ask if people are interested. And all it really is me bringing that awareness on there, or is it a good thing to bring more awareness to this? Because some people assume because vendors are listed in publications, and including physical print publications, that they must be a vendor who has been vetted in some way legitimized in some way by some process, when all they were legitimized was, did their check clear? Publish the article. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of that and a whole incident related to that. Oh, finally ditched the PC pickup name. Yeah, it finally let me change it. That was definitely something that did occur. Related, in my final note on this particular topic, though, is episode 27 of Dark Knight Diaries, Chart Breakers, is a deeper dive into the basically gamification that comes with legitimizing these companies. And companies that want to get to the top of the podcast, they want to be the top bestseller in New York Times, and there's a bunch of articles they have in this episode. So it's a great episode that Jack dives into and talks about all the issues on how to get on these bestseller lists and sponsored lists, etc. Well, not sponsored lists, but top of the podcast list by gamifying it as opposed to actually being good. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's an interesting topic, in my opinion, to think about that, because it's another way that a lot of consumers just kind of get the wool pulled over their eyes, to use a saying. Yeah, shady business, that is for sure, and it's very, very common across a lot of industries. Matter of fact, one of the motorcycle channels that I follow, they've talked about it themselves, about the problem with reviewing motorcycles. And if a vendor gives you a motorcycle for review and you leave a bad review or don't like their particular motorcycle, you may not get another motorcycle from them to review because they don't like your opinions of their motorcycle. This is a challenge where you want to have journalistic integrity, but you also know if you really dump on the product, they won't send you another product. This is where any of these paid reviews get to be kind of a problem. And I think the same thing happened with Apple maybe it was 2 years ago, and KBHD covered it too. And the challenge of the embargo dates weren't all the same for the tech reviewers. Some tech reviewers got different embargo dates than other ones when they could release their reviews, and it seemed to be biased to how they felt about those products. So yeah, I don't know. Do you think we're going to run into any problems upgrading FreeNAS to TrueNAS Core? I don't know, and I plan to do a video on it. That's the topic I do want to talk about. Yeah, sounds like GD Power. There's a lot of mess on the entire process is just a mess. Now, when it comes to upgrading FreeNAS, this is a good question. I don't have enough solid information, so I'm going to generate solid information by actually doing the updates. I may even schedule another live stream. Maybe I'll update my FreeNAS server live so we can see what problems, because I still have one of them that's at the old version. And I may update it to the new version to see what happens. And I just don't feel like doing it today, but maybe I'll do it over on the weekend. I was going to do it today, and I said, I'm tired. It's already 5:30, and I don't feel like starting a project because I have stuff to do. Turns out sleeping in a hotel, yeah, not my favorite thing to do. And so with all the other things on moving and stuff I have to complete each day to get further towards moving into the house, the time Tom has to do some of these other things is less. Anyways, not to get too off topic there. But I will mention, though, yes, I do plan to dive into some of the upgrade process of TrueNAS and FreeNAS. And as I dive into those processes, I will see what problems arise, report bugs if needed, and just kind of offer guidance for people wanting to do this. I might do, one of the reasons I also don't want to do it today is I want to benchmark a system prior to its upgrade, benchmark it again with a series of benchmarks after the upgrade to see if there's a direct performance difference. And because I'll build a jail that's just for the performance testing, when I do the upgrade, I'll just rerun those same performance tests in the same jail on the new machine, well, on the new software, the TrueNAS Core 12, and then we'll have some, nice objective knowledge. This is what it ran when it was on 11.3 FreeNAS. This is what it runs at TrueNAS 12. Now I have the other boxes which I'll log into behind me. I'll log into one of them, and because I don't feel like reloading them right now, and it's just a time-consuming thing, let me log into it real quick and pull it up for you. This system right here is the TrueNAS Mini I've been doing some testing with, and I've rebuilt the pool a couple times. And I did debate about, reloading it to FreeNAS 11.3 and doing an in-place upgrade, but I have to build some services on it, throw a few things on it, see how they survive the upgrade, etc., which can be kind of tedious. And this is one of those challenges I have with my channel. As much as I love producing YouTube videos. I do still have a job, and therefore, if I spend a lot of time making one video, which would probably be fairly popular, it's not necessarily enough to compensate the number of hours all the time to do such an in-depth review. So I've thought about trying to figure out ways to, make that easier, but I still want to avoid channel sponsors. But I want to give a shout out to everyone who does throw a few dollars at me on the live streams here and on Patreon and things like that. That does factor into how I consider what I want to dive deeply into in review, and because it affords me the time, because I can justify spending 20, 30 hours on a project to get it done, to put all this together and then do all the editing and everything that takes place to do an in-depth test by more than the standard fees that come in from YouTube on all that. So yes. Let's see. Do you still use zero tier? I can answer that question right here by going, there we go. I do indeed use zero tier. There it is, loaded right there. And there's my zero tier IP address for stuff I've been testing. So yes, still using zero tier. I do like it. I think zero tier is such a clever solution for a lot of different things, especially when you don't want to deal with the VPN. You want to have a nice secure access. I think it's a pretty slick system. Do some testing with deduping versus memory performance. That is an extensive test. I'm hoping the folks at FreeNAS, who do a lot of detailed testing, they have the time to really dive into and do a test like that. So that's more likely we'll get a more in-depth answer from them, because they spend a lot of time and are very talented. Same with Serve the Home. Their core focus is doing that type of tests, so they have more time than I do doing it. SMB over zero tier, it should work. I mean, I don't see why you should be able to use it. You mentioned a fix for slow networking on jails. No, I said there are people who also talked about it and talked about fixing it in that Reddit post. So I left a link to the Reddit post. Their forums, there's people who have found the slow jail problem, and so I would look over there for it. Yes, Marcus said don't smoke bees. I think FreeNAS is maybe a team, but I'm not positive how many people work at FreeNAS. I know they have a lot of server equipment, and the person's quite talented at scripting, and of course using the FreeNAS tools that they wrote to do all that testing. So that's kind of like their focus, is doing that testing. In between, I have to make sure when I'm not making videos that, well, there's a handful of people that they like to get paid every Friday, and they like to make sure there's money in the bank. So there's still functional parts of running the business that I do to keep that going. So I don't have as much time yet. I'm working on always ways to have more time to do those things, but until I get the time to do those things, I got to kind of figure it out. Also, yes, Kyle likes money. Turns out those people don't like just being part of my YouTube channel that are commenting. They're actually paid to do things here at the office. So whole different perspective there. But my overall feeling, though, one thing is certainly, and I think someone said there's already a bug report on this, the reporting is definitely a weird quirk that is happening inside of TrueNAS. It's just, I don't know. I never spent a lot of time in the reporting, so it's not something, hey, look, it's messing up live. See, we're back on the dashboard and I can't get to it. It's actually Chrome is just rendering away something in the background. And yeah, it just wants to keep bringing me back here. Let me try and... It also is weird. It goes to the dark theme and back a couple times. Yep, it's still stuck. I don't know what the cause is here. I do know 3.213. Let's log back in. And I bet it works on another window. So it actually is something with the browser causing that problem, because if I open up an incognito window, it works right away. But even though it's working in this window, if we go back over to this one, it won't let me get back to the dashboard. And it's hanging on to something in here. And I know I could clear the cache probably and fix it, but that's still a weird problem. And I'm starting, after I play with it, after I did the video, I played with it some more, and I'm realizing where the problem might be. Somewhere inside Chrome, the way it's holding on and caching things. to cause that issue. But I don't spend much time ever looking at the reports, so it's not something I'm super worried about because it's just not. That's probably the least used tab of any of them unless I'm really having a problem with it. And I'm more likely to go to the command line for a problem than I am to the reporting dashboard because I never found the reports to be incredibly, not as helpful as I thought they could be. But go to General, go back to Dashboard. Hey, look, magic, it worked. That's kind of you can click on another menu and go back and it works. It's a quirky issue that I kind of thought was odd that made it all the way to the full version of FreeNAS, or TrueNAS, but it's an edge case, and I don't think it's a deal breaker. But stability, of course, is going to be the big question. And I already had people commenting on the video going, "Hey, is it ready for production? Is it ready for production?" I don't really have an answer for that. I've used it for a day. I know I feel as though it's ready for my production, but I'm also someone who is well versed in FreeNAS and TrueNAS, though I don't mind doing any type of troubleshooting on it. So for me, yes. For you, wait a little while. There's not, unless you have a compelling feature that you have to have right this minute, don't do it. If you're not willing to deal with a quirky report problem, don't do it at all. If you're not willing to do with any quirky problems, always wait a little bit to the U1 updates and things like that for more stability.
Discord update.
Oh, let's see. Is the UniFi power controller worth it? No. We'll say no on that. So, get a UPS. I agree with that. I didn't care for that product. That product is laying over there, and
Discord update.
So the thing, I just don't use it. Have you ever come across a barrier? It's an open source KVM. Came across the other day. Pretty cool. I don't understand that question. The reporting issues don't seem to have anything to do with fresh installs. The reporting issue seems to be completely some type of weird browser problem. So also, it's an issue with Firefox as well. So it's not exactly Chrome. It's more, has something to do with the way it's not switching. I was able to reproduce it in Firefox. So, Aruba versus Instant On. Yes, I actually plan to do that video specifically at my new house. I'm going to take the Instant On home and do a comparison. So why not? I'm going to try both of them at the house and see which one has better range because I don't know what to do with the Instant On. So I thought, hey, why not see how good it works at home? So I'm going to do that comparison there. Yes, the people taking my website. Someone took it to another level, which I thought was even funnier of taking my website. They decided not only to copy my site, they started a YouTube channel and even used the same words to intro their YouTube channel of, hey, if you'd like to hire us and head over to our site. And they also copied my site. So I'm like, I'm flattered. They're even using, because I'm very open about this, I have a video on how we do bookings on YouTube and how we intake clients using You Can Book Me. They're even using the same tools I use. So I am flattered top to bottom. They copied my website, copied some of the verbiage, not all of it. They changed a couple words here and there. And then they started a YouTube channel and cover things like the same products I cover and offer to be hired as a consultant and use You Can Book Me. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Just copy everything Tom does for his business. I am flattered. Could be coincidental that they have a website that looks like mine and use the same words as mine, but And I'm not going to give them the Streisand effect. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. I'm not going to say their name because I'm not here to give them more attention or more likes, and maybe they're very good at what they do. I don't know. I just thought it was funny that they copied me. So... So, not a big deal. It's like, whatever. Let's see. I have Carlitos. Thank you very much for the donation. It is greatly appreciated. Anyone else want to fling money at me? It is greatly appreciated. Let's see. Yes, Aruba Instant I see more people asking about it. So, yes, someone's going to be looking for some of my hair so they can clone me. That's the ultimate. You can't clone a robot, my staff knows. I have been forked. Well, you know what? As you notice, I'm not angry about any of this because I do believe in open source. So I lack the anger. I'm not. The only time I've ever called someone for blatantly just duplicating my website, and they didn't even do a good job of it. They just copy pasted everything into theirs with like no changes except for their address and name. I called them because they were local. Oh, yeah, you're really bad at this, Marcus. My son's donating money back to me, I guess. That was unexpected.
You said you wanted someone to throw money at you.
I'll just look at all this. Look at all these dollars. Dollar bill, yo. They're not even mine.
No.
I don't even get to keep them. That's not fun at all. They're already gone. Oh.
Come out of your paycheck.
So, anyways. Oh, yes. Hey, look, singles in my area. Ah, that's a good pun, Kyle. That's for those of you that don't know, Kathleen is my wife who's posting in here, and she's asking what's for dinner. I don't know what's for dinner. That's a you question, honey. I got my phone right here. If you want to call and be on my live stream, and we'll have a dinner discussion for everyone and let them all pick, we can do that. Anyways, pizza. Yeah, no, not pizza. Actually, sushi sounds pretty good.
Pizza.
Oh, my wife is asking if we're going to spend the money on dinner. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not picky. All right, we're getting way off topic. Back to TrueNAS, FreeNAS business talk. I'm good with a $4 dinner. That's the Taco Bell dinner, man. I'm good with that. I see suggestions for Chinese food. So I don't think they have this on here. Would it be kind of cool if they had polls on here? Where you can do that. I don't see an option right now. That might be kind of thing. Put a poll in YouTube. You guys can debate what we have for dinner, because I always debate with my wife about it. So, ooh, spicy yellow tuna roll. That does sound good. I like sushi. I wouldn't trust $4 sushi. We're gonna definitely go with that. $4 sushi, not good. I'm not impressed with Brave browser. It looks neat, but the browser, and let me tell you, I tweeted this earlier today, and this is extremely relevant, and this is related to browsers. Where did that little thing I said go? This right here is why I'm scared to use the Brave browser. With firewalls, while firewalls may stand between you and your network and the greater internet, the browser is often your next greatest threat surface. And they found a problem in Chrome and it was up to date. I don't know how well vetted in terms of security the Brave browser is. Because of that, it worries me using the Brave browser, whether or not there's a problem or a flaw in it that could be exploited, and because it's a huge threat surface. Because if you notice all the little pin tabs across the top there, I don't really use applications. I use websites whenever possible instead of applications loaded on my computer. Therefore, I really have to have a browser that is solid and secure. And for those of you wondering, I use Chrome for my business and Firefox for my personal. I've said that before because people say, how can you be a privacy advocate if you are using Chrome? I say it's really easy. By using two separate browsers, the private part of my life is done in Firefox and the business part of my life is done in Chrome, and you never sell the two meet. That's the best way to describe that. That way, if there's a clear delineation by their separate browsers, you don't have to worry about the crossover of business Tom versus not business Tom.
Business versus pleasure.
Yeah, business versus pleasure. Well, you need a chair?
I was going to sit here for a bit. I ran out of things to do.
Oh.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, that's Steve.
I hope they know who I am.
So that's my answer for the why I don't use the Brave browser. I don't know anything bad about it. I don't know anything good about it. So it's just, to me, another browser out there. Conceptually, it seems very interesting. I understand the premise of it. I understand it's a privacy-oriented browser. It's neat, but yeah. Firefox is pretty cool too. Firefox has definitely got the way they do the containers and some of the other features. Yeah. Firefox is, I think, a wonderful browser.
I do the same thing. Firefox for everything. I like the syncing of Chrome, so I tend to use that same thing for my business stuff. So I have my tabs open, and then if I got to move to my laptop or work remotely, just pull it all up. It's all there.
Yeah. Opera has a gaming browser, and Edge is now on Linux. Yeah, I'm not big on Opera or I mean, I'm aware. I used Opera forever ago, but Opera and Edge, I'm going to go no. What has the same zero-day exploit? Well, a lot of the browsers being based on the same code base obviously means some of the zero-day exploits, if you find them in one, if it's a core fundamental of the rendering engine built in it, yes, that is absolutely. Yeah, it affects all the others.
If you build them all on Chrome and Chrome has an exploit, they all have an exploit.
They all have an exploit. So that's, yeah, it's obviously a concern. The nice thing is, love or hate Google for privacy reasons, I completely can understand and probably agree with you. I will admit Google is very fast, one, to call out problems with their whatever software, and two, to get those problems resolved, pushed, and updated very fast. There's not like a long delay between finding a problem in a browser and Google pushing an update for that browser. And to me, the risk of breach is much more than the annoyance, truly annoyance of privacy problems that you will get with those other companies. So, is what it is. Let's see. Edge on Linux. Yeah, that's just stupid. How do you check if you're AD zero login without a domain? If you have a server running at all that has the zero, you need zero login patch on all servers. This is a short answer of that. That's what it affects. Go out there and patch it. If you've loaded the updates, you should be fine. Microsoft has a write-up on it. Microsoft has I believe they have something to test it, but it's not hard to test. Just look at what your patch level is. It's not, there's plenty of write-ups on there, so. Brave is more advanced than Firefox. Brave had the second person who created Firefox, plus he created JavaScript before the Firefox. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the person who did it. I just, being who they are, that doesn't necessarily tell me that their team is big enough to handle security challenges with it. So, don't know. It's a maybe. But I don't really have a reason to do a video on it. There's like a dozen people who did. I don't think I add any value because I have no other opinions other than the ones I shared you on it going, hey, look, another browser that potentially may get updated as fast as other ones, we hope. There's my opinion of Brave browser right now. Yeah, it's a fork of Firefox, I think, is what they're based the core of it on. And whether or not they actually pull the upstream from Firefox.
So why not just use Firefox?
It's that point, yeah, well, if I'm worried about it, why not just use Firefox?
Why do I use the clone of the thing when I could use the thing?
And by the way, I mentioned on a couple live streams ago, and you can find this out, they were, Brave was improperly disclosing that they were forwarding you affiliate links. And to me, I'm like, hey, look, now granted, it's, people found this through the source code and things like that. They were adding affiliate links, but that's still scary that they were doing it because if you're, going on and claiming you're privacy oriented, why would you add affiliate links built into your source code to forward people? And I'm like, that's not exactly behavior.
Money.
We know money.
Well, that's the same complaint about Chrome as well. Oh, they're selling your data for money.
Yeah, and Brave is forked off Chromium, someone said. Okay. Yeah, so kind of a mess. Yeah, I seen someone just say, Brave was handing out coupons and click ads and redirects for that. And nothing nefarious. It wasn't for bad. It was for them to get that. So,
Quasi.
Well, it's not really nefarious. They admitted, and they actually have it disclosed in their terms and conditions of how they monetize Brave. So it wasn't bad. It was just taking people by surprise when you sing the song of being privacy-oriented and everything else, and someone no one takes the time. How many of you have actually read the terms and conditions?
I love the South Park episode about it.
Yes. South Park episode terms and conditions is basically, yes, that sums it all up.
You didn't read the terms and conditions?
Yeah. Doesn't everybody in that? There's actually a lawyer who puts, I don't remember the name of the site. If you look for it, though, there's a terms and conditions interpreter written by a lawyer who reviews terms and conditions and does his write-ups on them of different companies. Someone said, I see before they're having issues failing in short time when installing FreeNAS on a USB dual or mirrored, debating into installing FreeNAS, TrueNAS on a mirrored SSD versus dual USB. So you have to get USBs that are capable of many writes, and obviously people go, well, it's only a boot drive, I'll use the cheapest one I can find. So that's a bad idea. They make ones that are for heavier I/O. So go over to Serve the Home. They have a list of them. By the way, cheap, inexpensive SSDs will always outlast even higher quality, like a nicer USB. Just
Yeah.
go buy a cheap.
They're so inexpensive.
Yeah, the price difference is not. I mean, it's there, but it's like the difference between paying $35 for cheap, a small.
I think like 120s are about $35.
Yeah, you can buy an SSD for $35, and you can buy a high durability for like $20. So spend $15 extra and the problem goes away.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? By the time you get the cost of a nice SanDisk USB drive, don't use the Micro Center ones. We've worn those out just rewriting images to them.
Yeah. Oh, where'd you get the UB&T shirt? They sent us
From
that.
UB&T.
Yeah. They used to have a swag store, and at one random moment in time, they mailed us shirts. We didn't have...
They've sent us shirts a couple times.
Has it been twice?
Yeah,
I only remember
because
once.
I think Corey actually has...
He's got the Mexico shirt. He's got the one that's it's all Spanish.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why we gave it to him.
There's a UB&T University one, isn't there? Yeah, that's the one he has.
He also has the one in Spanish. Yeah, they quit selling. They used to have a swag store, and then they took it down. I don't know why. And then they also went a step further, and I don't know. They decided to get rid of selling swag, sending swag. I don't know why. It's kind of weird because it's not like it's much to maintain it. You're just putting your company logo on stuff. And why not send it? FreeNAS sends us stuff all the time. We love when they send us things. Huntress has sent me a lot of things. We do
10
videos.
notebooks.
Yeah, we just got...
Not like laptops, actual writing notebooks.
Yeah, which are kind of cool. They send us some neat stuff. A lot of companies send us swag. I don't mind.
Love it.
Yeah.
I haven't bought shirts in forever.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. What else do we have here?
Yeah, I should have grabbed my Chromebook so I could read.
Yeah, nothing. Have I tried DSM-7 for Synology? I have not. The new one, it's in beta, and I think you can sign up, but I believe, and don't quote me on this, I think someone else told me, if you do sign up for the beta, part of the terms and condition of it is not making a video about it because it's in beta. I think they have a policy like that, so I didn't bother. I'm aware of it. I've had people tell me it's cool. Thumbs up, but I haven't used it, so I know I haven't really
I'm
tried
always
it.
leery of things in beta.
Yeah, it's like I don't have most...
I want to be excited for it, but then there's a problem, and then I'm less excited for it.
Yeah, most of the Synologies, because they're running, like we've deployed a lot of security camera NVRs, and I don't really want to load a beta software on that.
Oh, no.
I don't really have any Synologies that we use for production here. All the ones we sold are at clients in production, so I don't want to load a beta on there. I have one sitting up here that I'm going to be doing some testing with over the next few days, as I want to do... I'm going to do the Aruba thing, but actually, before I get to the Aruba thing, it's going to be the Synology versus FreeNAS. I want to do some back and forth again and kind of bring it up because I know that debate goes on and on, but there's a few other things I didn't mention in the other video. But this is the best thing. If I don't mention in a video, there's always a bunch of people who comment and tell me what I missed, which is great because now I have the content I needed or the gaps that were in my video. I have been informed by people who are informed and why I didn't cover this particular topic. And one of them is going to come down to security, and the way security is handled is very different on the two devices. So there's going to be
like
one...
the encryption in there?
Yeah, the encryption is one piece, and the second piece is going to be, one of them is a fundamental encryption problem that I don't know if it's going to be solved in version 7. All I know is you kind of get a generic answer when you talk about the way Synology stores things, and I'm going to get to some detailed level on that. The fundamental way that they use storage on there can't be encrypted the same way FreeNAS is, or TrueNAS, either one of them, because they aren't using that level of encryption at that drive level the same way. They handle it differently. So they actually have to do some re-engineering. Maybe that re-engineering is coming in 7. I don't know. But it obviously is for people who have compliance and need really well encrypted from top to bottom. FreeNAS, TrueNAS checks all those boxes because it does absolute individual disk level encryption of everything. And of course with TrueNAS, with the new ZFS, it has the option for data set level encryption. On each individual data set can have the different methods in there. Now my son wanted to mention Have we used Synology CMS? Yes. Cio can probably speak to that. We weren't impressed with it when we tested it. So
The
central management server.
Oh, yeah, you still had to forward a bunch of ports, and we had trouble with it. It would just disconnect randomly. So we set one up here in an attempt to, as we deployed them, be able to manage them. And Kyle ended up having to open up a bunch of ports on the remote firewalls and here, and then it would still just randomly just disconnect.
Yeah, we did not have a wonderful experience with it. We didn't.
It was easier to use the quick connect and just log into them that way for the management.
Yeah, and
manage them on an individual basis.
Yep. And we have them set to auto update. And matter of fact, that's something I'll say a lot for Synology, definitely to the positive. Their auto update works great.
And we haven't had one break.
No, we get the notices that they're up to date. We'll see an update. We know when updates are coming. We'll see
we
the
get
machine.
the smart notices. We get the end of month notices for drive status.
Yeah.
When one of our clients they set up battery backups on theirs and configured it. So that way when their power goes out, it'll gracefully shut it down. When they lose power, we get a notification that, hey, the battery's running low.
Yeah. I see someone said ButterFS on TrueNAS. That would be stupid. ZFS all the way. ZFS every day, all day. There's a reason that ZFS is called the billion-dollar file system by a lot of people in the industry, because there's over $1 billion worth of development that went into ZFS. ZFS is, ButterFS is a neat project. It's not ZFS though. And if you're not familiar or need someone who's a more expert on this particular topic, reference Michael Lucas's books on ZFS. He didn't just write the book on ZFS, he wrote 2 of them. Docker doesn't work well on FreeNAS. That's because you shouldn't really use Docker on FreeNAS. Wait till TrueNAS Scale comes out. The split, and I have a video called TrueNAS. What is TrueNAS Scale? That's, I think, the title of the video. But if you type TrueNAS Scale into my YouTube channel, you will get a review of it. It was just released as alpha, which people keep asking if I'm using it in production. I'm like, it was released as alpha last week. No, I'm not using TrueNAS Scale in production right now. Far from it.
Slow down.
Slow down. I even commented on that video. It's not. There's just a ton of things not working in it. So TrueNAS Scale, they're iterating fast because with the conversions of TrueNAS from FreeNAS, they modularize the middleware that's written in Python. So the Python middleware has now been made portable, and TrueNAS Scale is based on Debian. So being based on Debian, you're going to get better Docker support, and that's one of the things they know they want. So the modular nature of the middleware, all the functional things like SMB, the way the interface works, is all nice compartmentalized in Python. They can swap out the base to be Debian. Then you can get your Docker support that'll make you happy instead of the kind of I think Docker was, and don't quote me on this because I just don't use it ever on FreeNAS with the BSD base, but I believe you load Rancher OS and then that would handle some of the Docker support. But I think it's been kind of abandoned. It never really worked well, and their focus is going to be, you're going to use IO cage-based jails on the BSD, which is your TrueNAS core, and then TrueNAS Scale is going to offer base OS, the base kernel is going to be Debian, and then you're going to be able to have Docker and any other type of Debian support. Also, natively, they're going to load Gluster, I believe comes natively loaded on there. I don't know if they're going to develop an interface for Gluster and add it to the middleware that will, of course, only be available on the TrueNAS Scale version. But it'd be kind of cool if they did. They've already got it included in the base files. I'm pretty sure they'll probably include an interface. So if you're building a cluster of Gluster, you'll be able to do that with TrueNAS Scale. And for its namesake, TrueNAS Scale is a scale-out system with the design in mind to be able to use things like GlusterFS. So as it gets kind of moves along and there's actually some beta to play with, not alpha, I probably will do some testing with it. I'm excited. I like Debian. I like BSD. I think it's cool that they went in both directions. I've seen some people think they're abandoning BSD, and they're not. They have a long time of support that they'll be doing it, at least probably the next 5 to 10 years. But I don't know. It kind of depends on where things go. Obviously, there's more excitement in the Linux kernel development than there is in the BSD kernel development. So I think you're going to see a longer, a life cycle in the big picture on Linux than you would on the BSD side. So I don't know. What else do we have here? UniFi Protect. I want to do an updated video. The major update to Protect is actually pretty cool. So I do like that.
And we just deployed another one, and I mean, I think they just updated it too. That I want in the update the UniFi viewport, the Magic Video Tube, as we call it.
Magic Video Tube,
yeah.
yes.
It can do scrolling views now, where it flips through cameras.
Yes. That actually does work. Matter of fact, let me pull it up real quick, so I'll pull that up. And someone asked a Screen Connect question. Is there a scalability problem with Screen Connect in Linux? I'll let you take that one, Steve.
Yes. And it only seems to affect when, you get an important phone call and they really want you to look at it right that second. And you're like, okay, let me just... And we're spinning for 5 minutes. So how's your day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have... I want to say 600. And it is bad. It gets really rough sometimes. We have to reboot it every... at least once a week.
There was a leaf blower guy out front?
Of here?
Yeah. So the new interface, I haven't really had the time to dig into it, so you're kind of looking. I mean, I'm aware of it, and I've seen it, but the smart detection is one of the new features. So the new Protect is kind of cool. I don't know. It does do this, though. This is something that does happen sometimes. It does seem to pause a little bit. There's me. What was I doing? I've had this happen, where it pauses on those, but the live views work fine. The time lapse works.
Go back.
Here?
Where's that mark? Oh, that's a Marco's Pizza receipt.
Yeah, it's a pizza thing.
I thought it was a pizza box. I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, there's
That's the doorbell, isn't it?
yeah, it's a doorbell.
I do like that you can tie the doorbell right into the Protect system
Yeah,
and have like the camera feed from it.
it's pretty neat.
It's very functional.
It actually
Easy to deploy too, because we just did another deployment. The client didn't want a lot of extra equipment, and we just has a basic firewall, so we just left everything DHCP, broker the connection out, and use UniFi Connect.
Yep, there's my son coming through. So you notice that it had a problem pulling up something from here, but it doesn't have that same problem pulling it up from the other side. So this is why I was wanting to play with it a little bit more. I've only gone through it a little bit, but I noticed it's a little bit quirky. So that's kind of my feeling on it. But for the most part, I still like the system, especially for some of the small business owners. We just deployed another one of these Protect systems for a automotive shop, and they like it. It's easy for them to use.
He loves the resolution versus what he had. He loves...
It works out pretty well.
Yep, it shows up on the TV very clear. In fact, the minute like 2 or 3 of the cameras up, that was his first comment. I love how clear this looks.
Yeah. So overall, there's still more to do. So that's
I have that fear that they're gonna scrap it still, though.
That is obviously a concern. Anyways, I have not seen the SSL usage incompatible, but go ahead and head over to their reports. Also, if you're having trouble after you did an upgrade with TrueNAS, and I am going to definitely include this in my video, but because this has happened during the release candidate test, open in incognito window. Sometimes I've had to clear the browser cache or even just completely close and open the browser, and that's what fixed the login issues I was having. I think it's because of the way they coded it. Some things are getting cached in the browser that won't let go. So when the version updates on the back end, it somehow runs into a collision with what's already cached in your browser. But like how I pointed out that I couldn't open up the, when I was trying to log into TrueNAS earlier in the video, and when I logged into it, one of the things you were noticing that once I clicked on the reports, it wouldn't let me click off the reports page. But as soon as I open up an incognito window, it logs right in. So there's definitely some quirkiness around TrueNAS for that. I don't know if the quirkiness for the UniFi Protect will be addressed in there, the thing. But this is obviously, anytime there's a new dashboard like that, it's going to be
a rough start.
And
what isn't the purpose of this dashboard to like kind of show recent events, and I noticed it kind of zoomed in on like you and Marcus walking.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be they're supposed to offer people identification in here, so that's really what that's for, is to try.
Oh, that's why the leaf blower guy's so blurry.
Right.
He's out back, and that's on the 4K. He's at the he's doing the lot next door. Okay.
Yep. So go back
and
here to
it
events.
identified a person. It technically did its job.
Yeah. Because here's going to be that video that it was trying to extract me and Marcus from. So there's me and Marcus pulling up in my Tesla. And like I said, the video quality is actually really good on this.
Now that's the 4K one.
Yeah, this is the 4K camera. You can watch me plug in my car to charge it. So...
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to the future. Tom pulls up and plugs in.
It also catches me out back when I'm grilling.
Yeah.
And the grill's on fire.
Yep. So it catches grill fire. And the other thing you can do when you're doing this, it does have the highlight motion, which is kind of neat. That works too.
That's a little trippy looking because it looks like the ground is bleeding. But yeah.
So that's how the highlight motion works when you're looking at it. So it's showing all the motion areas that it picked up. Including, I like how it's highlighting that I popped open my charging port.
But it didn't catch the approach very well.
No. Maybe the car wasn't...
What's weird, maybe because it's all one uniform color.
That's what my guess is, too. It just kind of...
I do love that it left tire tracks.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the tire tracks represent a change because my wheels are wet because it was drizzling out and I rolled through a puddle. So I actually left tire tracks pulling up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's how that looks. Flip-flop shorts and a t-shirt all the time. That's pretty much my dress code. Oh, what else do we have here? Flip-flops, t-shirt. Yep. Can someone steal power for his car at your wall charger? Technically, yes. Someone could come in and plug their car in, and I would get a notice. I get a notice on my phone because of the device I'm using back there.
The juice box?
The juice box. So if the juice box sends me notices when the charging starts and stops. So if I don't happen to be here and I get a notice that someone's charging, I will be looking at the camera to wonder who's back there charging. Because I can actually tell it to only charge like on me saying yes. I can set authorization.
Now, can you kill it once you see who's back there?
Yeah, I believe I can stop the charging right from the app as well. Yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I haven't looked at it. I have it set to always on. There's a big security fail for those of you that want to come steal electricity from Lawrence Systems.
Quasi-security. You're going to get an alert.
I'm going to get an alert, so... Tom does not wear socks and sandals. My name is not Linus. My son does, though.
Does he?
A couple times.
That's weird.
Yeah.
He's weird.
Oh, what are you going to do? Yeah, -20 in the winter? Absolutely. I don't care. Oh, let's see. Someone's going to get their CCNA. That's good. Go ahead and get your certs if you want to get certified. It is sometimes required for the job. I have a video I'm going to be doing on certifications. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'm the other Linus. I'm much more of a Linus Torvalds fan than... I don't have anything against Linus Tech Tips. I do laugh about the whole socks and sandals thing. It does amuse me greatly. Anyways, the... CCNA in getting certified, IT Pro TV is a good place to get your training and things like that.
For the certification.
Yeah, as far as though what career path will drive certifications more than anything else. So I don't know how to advise you of where to go. I don't know where you want to go with it. Do you want to go into the cloud engineering? This is the challenge. People ask me about what get certified in. You have to first answer the question of what do you want to do? If you don't know what you want to do, it's hard to point you to a career path. And if you're not sure what you want to do, try. Go to somewhere. You can sign up for a 7-day trial. It doesn't cost you anything with IT Pro TV. Go through some of the courses and figure out which thing you find interesting, because that's also another way to determine your career path. Do you find this particular thing interesting? That maybe is where you should go in a career path. Do you find something else interesting? Try that for a career path. That's a challenge. So Data center, go from there. Data center's not bad. Matter of fact, if you're uncertain but you have a goal of money, go look up what certifications pay the most and let that drive you. Because if you're going, I'm not sure what I want to do, I want to work in tech, but I also want to make a lot of money.
I don't know how much the CCNA pays anymore.
I don't know what it pays either.
I know it used to be, because I went through the classes, and that was one of the jokes was a lot of people wanted it because the businesses got discount. They used to get discounts from Cisco depending on how many certified people they had. So there was an incentive for the business to have more certified people. Therefore, there was an incentive to hire you. And I don't know if they still do that with, their market. Like, has their market share shrunk with UniFi and...
I don't know. I think they're still relevant to have a CCNA. And I seen someone mention Network Chuck, and Network Chuck's interesting because his focus is that. So he's different because, he's working in the field kind of, but he's really focused on selling you a course. And so you have to be careful with the bias because you may get real excited about there, but I don't know what the actual job opportunities, that's what Steve's talking about, is what are the job opportunities with that cert? Because if a company is focused on selling you a cert for a particular cert they happen to train on, naturally they're going to have a level of bias to it. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm not someone who really follows Network Chuck, but I'm aware of him because he's got a popular YouTube channel. I think he used to work for Cisco, so I think he used to be a sales guy there.
I don't know.
I remember him. If you go back to his old videos, I see him interviewing Cisco people. But
when I was in college, we had there was a board meeting about this where they thought about offering SharePoint certifications. And the Microsoft instructor said there's seven certifications for it. One in setting it up, one in maintaining it. I go, so do you offer training for the certification in setting it up? Without the other certs, you're now expendable once it's set up.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do is just head over, and I just haven't taken the time to do this because it's not where I spend my time. Look at any of the recruiting sites. Look at any of the job postings. See what the requirements are. And they'll tell you very point blank. You go to ZipRecruiter, any of the popular job sites and start looking for jobs, look for jobs in tech. They'll tell you, we require
10 years of experience on this thing that's only been out for 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was actually, I can't remember which programming language it was, but the guy who actually wrote the programming language, they were looking for someone with more years of experience than the age of it. But the best part was the guy that wrote it tweeted the job posting and said, I'm clearly unqualified for this despite inventing the language. So when I'm interviewing new techs, I look for a home lab or a way to cert. Give my techs a home lab with all the other products. Yeah. I think it was Ruby, the person who was did the whole Ruby and Ruby on Rails and everything else language. So yes. That's another thing to take note of. I seen someone post, Marvin posted local business in Carolina, CCNA, salaries about $65K. That is also going to vary a lot. What you make varies from city to city to city, like what you charge, what you make.
Especially, state to state.
State to state, that's huge. So, yeah, I don't know if Rust has a single vendor. Feels like it was the person who invented Ruby. Either way, the concept is the same. You obviously see people who are out of touch. Whoever wrote the job posting was a non-technical person, so they'll say, I need someone with 10 years of experience in Server 2019. And obviously, we've seen some stupid, obvious ones like that. But yes. Yeah, the home lab stuff matters a lot. And matter of fact, in the programming space, your GitHub and contributions you've made in the open source world sometimes land you jobs. That's people who work in threat hunting, what lands them jobs. And John Hammond is now working with Huntress. And if you take the time to look him up, he's got about as many subscribers as me, and he does cybersecurity and application pen testing. And he's got like a plethora of things and write-ups about this, and that's how it's easy for someone like him to find a job because they're really well aware of what he does.
You look him up and
you find all the stuff he's done on GitHub. You'll find debriefs on exploits. You'll find application testing.
You found Joe's GitHub.
Yeah, I found Joe's GitHub, and was someone who used to work for me, and that's how I knew he was really talented at programming, because he had a GitHub with all the different things he was working on. So it made me confident because, well, he's contributing to other open source projects. He's very active on GitHub, and so those are all factors that go into job hunting. Xavier has been really busy, and so has Mo. So we have not had any time to do how they got hacked. Timings have not lined up. When you ask for suggestions on hardware, because that's such a loaded question, I would really suggest you go over to the Will It FreeNAS, or Will It TrueNAS, maybe they'll change the name of it, but they have an entire forum post where people talk about their builds. And the build question always starts with, what's your budget? And some people have a big budget, little budget. I did a review of this, it's still back here. I turn it off when it's, especially when I'm in the studio because it's noisy, but like I have this R720 or 730 XD behind me. Great system, works wonderful with TrueNAS. Matter of fact, it's going to get loaded with TrueNAS pretty soon for my demo video. So that's a good one. So that's a nice turnkey solution where you don't have to fiddle with any hardware. Out of the box, day one, load it, works, go, versus fiddling with hardware. But then again, some people go, man, I love fiddling with hardware. And that's why hardware channels are so popular. People,
I love
especially
hardware.
Yeah, gaming ones. You look at any of the gaming channels that talk about motherboards.
Yeah.
People ask me to talk about that. I'm like, there's already enough people doing it. There's obviously Linus, then there's Computer Nexus. Gamer Nexus. Gamer Nexus. My other friend, Craft Computing, and Bite My Bits, and who's the other person? Paul's Hardware. Paul's Hardware is really
Jay's
good.
2 Cents do it too?
Jay's 2 Cents. Jay's 2 Cents and Paul Hardware are the other two I was trying to think of. There's plenty of channels that cover all that. So I know it's a great hobby. As a matter of fact, if you head over to Reddit/r PC Master Race, you'll know people spend more time thinking about what to build. Sometimes the game is called What to Build, not even playing the games on it. The games are extra. It's all about the time you spent building it. So
Yeah, I can't do that. Like, even when we get people who want me to build something for them, I always start with, what's your budget? Because that's going to be the determining factor. And then they're like, well, should I get this $300-400 motherboard? Do you plan on using the features it does? Well, no. Then no.
yeah.
I'm minimalist when it comes to my builds.
I did a video on the TrueNAS, not TrueNAS, Netgate 2100, and the video was done using an optical cable. So
That one.
yeah, that one over there. So yes, I've tested it. It works. I have 0 deployed in production right now because that's the only one we have right now, and it's mine. It's just not installed because I don't have a house right now, so it's not at a house because I don't have a house yet.
And it's not a bad product. It is a little limited use case.
Yeah, it's kind of, if you have one of those fiber handoffs, it's kind of neat.
Perfect for that.
Perfect. And some people do. That's why they made it. There's enough demand for the product.
We are getting more and more calls of people, I don't want to pay my ISP for this fiber conversion box that I'm renting from them for $10 a month. Can I bypass it and just have my own? And it's sometimes hard to do, but if you can get it set up, yeah, the pfSense has all the support for it. We had one client in Colorado, he wanted to do it, and we had to set up like a VLAN with priorities. But then once we got all the settings worked out, it works fine.
Yeah, and yes, I did have it connected to Ubiquiti. They don't have a release date for TrueNAS Scale. There's not. Look on their site, on their announcements. They are sometime like first quarter of 2021. They have no. I don't think they got a date set to my knowledge. GPON Ubiquiti. I don't think I've had a problem with any of them. That's the fiber handoff ones.
Oh,
I've tried it fiber handoff, and I've never found one that didn't work. And they're all the same for the most part. I haven't really had a problem with it. So.
yeah, I think the only issue we had was when that one client dropped off the, I think they bought a bunch of SFP connectors, but they needed SFP Plus or vice versa. Like, they had it mismatched.
Are you seeing org switching XCP-ng from VMware? Yes. Matter of fact, the folks at XCP-ng have specifically talked about that. They've seen a lot of people switch. And I think the European market, because that's where they're on, they're based out of France, and I think the European market is probably seeing a faster adoption because license fees don't always interpret the same way because of currency exchanges. So they look at the money bounce and go, well, we don't really want to pay those VMware fees. And I feel as though maybe it's just a feeling I have from the people I know in Europe, not necessarily how Europe works. I feel like they're more open to open source than the U.S. companies. I feel the U.S. companies, there's so much of this, like, we've always used this closed source product, so we will always continue to deal with this closed source product.
We've done it this way for years.
Yeah, I feel like there's a more openness when we've dealt with them, at least the consulting jobs we have. But like I said, there may be a bias because they're calling us and doing it. But I know that there's at least a handful of you on here that are from Europe, so you tell me what the European feeling is on this. Is there a... Are generally speaking, is it a cultural thing where they're maybe regional based, where they're more open to using open source products? Obviously, where I know there's a bigger push for open sources in areas where the exchange rate's different, places that have a lesser GDP, a lesser, the cost of living's lower, which means the wages are lower, which also means it's substantially more expensive to buy a US-based product or pay a US-based licensing fee.
And it's weird sometimes too. They've pointed out like the product may be $199 US dollars, but then in Great Britain it's £199, and you're like, well, they're kind of getting screwed because their money's worth more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's always a... it's more of a no one got fired from buying VMware type of deal. Yeah, and I've heard that. That's the old adage. No one ever got fired for buying IBM, and then it became Cisco. It still is to an extent. Some people just buy it because they've always had Cisco. And the same thing with VMware. They were one of the first in the market for virtualization, so they've got the largest deployment base for things like that.
And the familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people still buy Norton for their desktops because they know the name.
Well, the other thing, too, and I think this is a really good point, too, there seems to be an increasing skepticism of mega technologies in general concerning data sovereignty, et cetera. And that goes towards the open source because, obviously, when your product absolutely depends on a license for activation, if that company, and this is what VMware did, raises prices, what are you going to do? You're going to pay it or your stuff turns off.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that bothers a lot of people, so... Yeah, pricing and having to go through resellers. Okay, so we're pretty...
yeah, resellers are the worst.
Resellers. Companies that do direct sales are amazing. Anybody else is usually an awful experience. That's even being inside the U.S. Dealing with value-added resellers. We do not find them to be value-adding.
No.
We find them to be in our way and annoying more than anything else. We don't always have good experiences with VARs. Why companies don't all sell direct, I don't know. It's 2020. Give it the program.
I have to get going, though, because I got to go get my aunt food. Bye, everyone.
All right. Do you guys help people with Hyper-V and XCP-NG? I have. I'm not a Hyper-V expert. I'm more of the XCP-NG expert, but at least I've probably helped in some ways. Let's see. There we go. All right. I'm seeing my wife's messaging me about dinner. I'll figure out what she wants to do. I just realized, too, it's 6:30. Steve's leaving. I'm going to be leaving soon. Is there any final questions for the good of the class? Did I ever use double space back in the day? Boy, I haven't heard that in a while. That was the double space and stacker and all those compression utilities. I used them a little bit. I mean, I don't ever remember actually using them myself, but I was aware of them, and I definitely dealt with a lot of clients because I was working at a small computer repair shop that were definitely using double space and things like that back in the 90s. So, smash that like button. Yeah, I didn't mention that. 58 likes, 253 people. So... is FreeNAS 12 ready for production? To me, it is, but I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm obviously a FreeNAS enthusiast who doesn't mind troubleshooting things. Currently, the reporting's broken, so if you need the reporting and it's a critical thing for you, deal with the bugs or wait for the U1 update where they'll have that fixed. bash the like button. Matter of fact, I think that's written on the back of here. It says right there, bash the like button. Do I have two of them? Oh yeah, one says Born Again Shell, one says bash that like button. So
how's the stream going?
it's coming to an end. Oh, I know, I'm not inclusive to ZSH users. How is Ubiquiti Access? I don't know. I'm not installing it anywhere. I'm not ready to install that in production anywhere. I'm waiting for other people to be guinea pigs on that one. And I'm not recommending people be guinea pigs. I'm letting them decide if they want to be guinea pigs. It's as simple as that. Is it possible to go fully open source with Zen Orchestra for commercial use? That's a gray area. I guess if you compiled all the code yourself, sure. You can. I've got a video on compiling all the code yourself. It says it's for non-commercial use because you get no support. So I guess if you're fine with no support, yeah, I don't know. I read the terms and conditions carefully because I'm not positive exactly what they say in detail. So that's email them and question them. Obviously, they give away the source code. You can compile it. I don't know if you're in violation of, I don't know what exactly their terms and conditions say about people who use that in production. I know that some of the scripts say not to. I'll leave that part up to you. I just don't have the direct answer on that, but they'll obviously have it on their website. And feel free to reach out to the people, tweet them. The people at Zen are pretty awesome. They're pretty open about everything too. Yeah, don't buy anything in Ubiquiti that's not a switch or an access point. Yeah, there's definitely some issues there. No, I don't do LTO drives. No one's really asked for them lately. Not in a long time. How big is the actual XCP-NG support team? Look at their blog post. I think they got like 20 people or 30 people working there. Maybe more. They've got a lot of employees now. They've been hiring. They've been making blog posts about all the people they're hiring in the new positions. So that's on their site. I don't really know how many people work there now, but more. Every time I look, there's more of them. They're getting. Matter of fact, they've been officially adopted by the Linux Foundation as one of the core projects. So they've gotten some backing from the Linux Foundation. What is the best way to check if a Z-pool is degraded? Go over to the little gear icon and go to the pool status. It'll tell you if it's degraded. WireGuard has not been vetted, therefore I do not use it in commercial. Until it's gone through a code audit, I don't plan on using WireGuard for commercial. Yes, we're using SolarWinds backup. Let's see. If you can find a code audit for WireGuard, send it. According to their website, it hasn't. So let the person who wrote WireGuard know it's been code audited as well. Because last time I checked their website, they didn't have that posted. So if you know someone who code audited it and went through a security audit, cool. They'll probably post it. I mean, I can probably look right now. WireGuard. See if they have a blog post about it. It doesn't say anything. I'm looking at their site. It still doesn't say they've been audited here. About the project. Email list, license, security contact. So if it's been updated, I don't see it. I mean, it's a cool thing, but it's still not, yeah. To my knowledge, there is no code audit on this yet. WireGuard Linux. I mean, they have all the code. It just needs to pay someone to spend time auditing their code. Yeah, I don't see anything on here. So if it's been security audited, they would probably be bragging about it because a good security audit is going to cost you around 6 figures for something. So Let's see. I think that's it. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to wind this down. Any other questions before I wind her off?
I have a statement.
Brave has been audited. I didn't, Brave, browser. Security audit. Trying to find their, here, I'll, busted for autocomplete, but I don't see, I don't know if they've been, it's one of those things that's tricky. Browsers are even harder for security audits for a couple of reasons. They're very dynamic. Matter of fact, they're constantly moving. So getting an audit done needs to, you have the code base and then the changes, and they're pulling from Chromium. So I guess it depends on how much changing they do. I don't know if they've been audited. I don't know. And it's like I said, it's neat, but it's not compelling to me. It doesn't have anything that makes me go, man, I really need this. Let's see. Yeah, how they got hacked still on hold. We don't know. Yeah, WireGuard is meant to be comprehensively reviewable by single individuals. Absolutely. As soon as you find that single individual to stick their name on it, that they audit it, and that individual is a reputable security person, awesome. There are people to do that. They charge, I'll use as an example, when they went through a code audit with Keybase. They published not only the code audit, they published how much it costs. They spent over $100,000 on the code audit because a good code auditor doesn't do it for free. Maybe a good code auditor might do it for free, but that's kind of iffy, and you need a reputable security person to go through, pick through the code, and make sure it's right. So it's as simple as that. But with that, I'm going to leave you. Maybe I need a video and explainer on what a security audit is. I'll find someone who does it and have them do some explanation. So it'll be my default reply link to dive into this video. This will break down what it means to actually go through a proper security audit versus, the constant, deeper questions. Like, I'll let the professionals who do it, because I am not a security auditor. I mean, anyone can go view the code to open source projects, but that's not the same as actually vetting them. So OpenVPN is an example where not once, but two separate security firms paid for by two separate projects, which does include PIVPN, paid for the security audit of that particular product. So because they paid for and did the audit on there, it was done, and it was done by two very reputable companies. That's where a big difference is versus the generic kind of audited type of space. But that's it for me. I'm winding down. All right, and thanks.